Following the battle with Moro, now Earth finally has a new guardian. But this isn't the end of Gohan and Trunks' story. Although, it is the penultimate part. Where do we go from here, though? We'll be covering all that and more in this 5th part of What If Gohan and Trunks Saved the Future. After all this time, Champa's finally done it. He's gathered the Super Dragon Balls. Now, this isn't like the present timeline where he wants to take Earth immediately, especially because of the reasons we explored before. It's just very unlikely that he would have done it, at least at that point in the story. By now, with Gohan and Trunks going to Earth more times, Beerus is getting more accustomed with their Earth food too. I mean, it's part of who he is. It's to the point where now he expects Earth food to be brought to him all the time. Which means the next time Champa visits, he tries some of the Earth food too. And he thinks it's so amazing that he now wants to use the Super Dragon Balls to steal Earth. This obviously is not going to slide with Beerus, or Gohan and Trunks for that matter. He's not just going to let his brother do that. But he tells Beerus it's not his say what he does with the Super Dragon Balls because Champa was the one who found them all. The last one especially took a long time, but it was located in Universe 7. Beerus argues since part of them were in Universe 7, they should fight over them. Especially because his wish goes directly against Beerus. He's not just going to let it happen like that. But Champa did find the Dragon Balls on his own, so he should be able to do whatever he wants with them. Although they have agreed in the past that they should settle any disputes like this over a fight. But they can't fight each other. Really, he should just be able to use the Super Dragon Balls himself, but he knows Beerus is going to be furious, and who knows if Zena would get involved too. They need to make this an amicable agreement between the two of them. Champa can't just wish what he wants because he got the Super Dragon Balls himself. He needs the extra approval. So, reluctantly, he agrees to a tournament, but he selects all the rules. There's going to be 5 people from each team. Whatever universe wins gets the wish. And Beerus confidently agrees to it. But then when Champa leaves, he goes into panic mode. They don't have 5 fighters. They're screwed, aren't they? They have Gohan, Trunks, and maybe that Cargo guy. He's a warrior Namekian, and he's probably strong enough. It's not like they can recruit any villains because Moro killed most of them. And they don't know of any other strong people in Universe 7, at least not at the moment. They could frantically search around, but they don't really have much time for that. Especially because Gohan has another idea of his own. What if they recruit any of the people from Otherworld? Beerus thinks that Champa might make a fuss over that, but there is no rule about recruiting dead fighters. So maybe Gohan's onto something here. The issue is, how are they supposed to get these fighters here? Gohan knows that they have a limited 24-hour pass from Baba. But should they really waste it on that? Whis says it's not an issue though. Because of the dire circumstances and because Beerus requested it, he can bring them here temporarily. He's not going to flat out revive them, but he can essentially give them the same thing Baba's giving them. And he reminds them this isn't for them. They're only going to be here for the fight, so there's no reunion on Earth after or anything. And it's only going to be for 2 people. They could recruit that one Namekian warrior, but they'll limit themselves to 2 dead warriors. Gohan already has 2 good ideas in mind. Goku and Piccolo. He's interested to see how strong Piccolo's grown, and he knows for a fact that Goku's strong. Beerus knows this too, having seen it firsthand, so he's fine with having him recruited. As for Piccolo, he learns that it's another Namekian, one from Earth, and he was actually Gohan's teacher for a bit, so he says he'll allow that too. Whis briefly departs going to Otherworld, and of course Goku and Piccolo agree to this. It's an opportunity for a good fight, and an opportunity to see Gohan and Trunks again. Plus, it is helping Earth out. While Whis does this, Gohan and Trunks go to Namek. Finding Cargo, and he agrees pretty quickly. He's been training a lot. He's not sure how strong he is in comparison to them, but he could definitely help out here in this fight. Especially after them helping out against Moro, he wouldn't mind joining a tournament like this. Besides, Earth is Dende's planet. He definitely wants to help out Dende, and just like that, they now have enough people for the tournament. There's no time chamber training either because Goku and Piccolo don't need it, and Gohan and Trunks aren't like Goku and Vegeta. They're probably not going to want to use it here either. Not like they need it anyways. This leads us to the Tournament of Destroyers. The first one up is Cargo. He's the weakest fighter of Universe 7's team, but still pretty strong. He's also really glad to see Piccolo. Even though he died early on during the attack on Namek, he still heard about all the stuff that Piccolo did. Plus, Nail is a part of him. Of course he knows Nail. Piccolo doesn't really know Cargo too well, but he was on Earth for that brief period of time when the Namekians stayed there. He looks just like Dende, but a warrior instead. He's intrigued to see how strong this Namekian will be. His first fight is up against Potamo. Thanks to Potamo's body, he's able to stay in the ring pretty easily. Although, Cargo does overpower him, surprisingly. And after a little bit of fighting, he's able to figure out a way to knock out Potamo. Next is Cargo versus Frost, and of course Cargo immediately thinks that this guy looks like Frieza. And knowing his experience with Frieza, he's probably not going to take any chances. Apparently this guy's a good guy, but he's also heard stories of Frieza having other forms, so if this is this guy's first form, he's not going to get cocky and act like he could fight him at stronger levels. He doesn't know how far Frost's power goes. And while fighting Frost in his first form, Cargo actually does completely outpace him, to the point where he's even quick enough to notice that Frost is trying to hit him with some sort of a needle, which instantly tells him that this guy is just as bad as Frieza. He still knocks Frost out of the ring regardless, and after the fact, he tells everyone that he was cheating. But he didn't let that get in the way of him though. With his own raw strength, he was able to defeat Frost. A pretty impressive showing, especially because they don't know what Frost's true power is like. This guy's a pretty smart fighter. Next, he's up against Vegeta, and Vegeta wins by steaming out the arena. Piccolo commends him for his battle, because they couldn't have seen that coming. And he's not too sure what he's going to do against Vegeta either, at least until Whis reveals the weakness of Vegeta. Piccolo's a bit bummed because he actually wanted to show his true power, but looks like he's going to have to resort to insults, which he does, and that knocks Vegeta out. Next, Piccolo's up against Kappa. And quick side note here, I know Kappa should look different due to this being years in the future, even if we assume the fact that Universe 6 Saiyans just look this young the entire time. But I'm going to be honest here, Kappa's not going to be a big enough part of the story for me to commission completely new art of him here, especially because Piccolo defeats him pretty quickly. Use your imagination, maybe he's a little bit taller or has a beard or something. Sorry Kappa, this one's not about you. And that leads us to our final fight, Piccolo versus Hit. Piccolo hasn't been able to show his true strength yet. He hoped that Saiyan would have some sort of transformations, but it didn't seem like he did. Although, even in base he was pretty strong. But Piccolo wasn't at his full power at all. And against Vegeta he barely even got to fight. Against Hit though, he can go all out because this guy's clearly pretty strong. Although, it might be a little bit too much for Piccolo. Now, Piccolo hasn't gotten any new forms. Unlike Saiyans, he just doesn't unlock forms like that. Plus, Piccolo never fused with Kami either. So, there's also that to consider. And by this point he never really saw a need for it, although he's grown a lot stronger on his own. But technically he's still not his full self yet. But Hit does have a tough time with Piccolo at first. After all those years in Otherworld, of course he's grown a ton. And while he doesn't have any new forms, he at least picked up on a lot of the techniques Goku has. First of all, he learned some Yardrat techniques. He has access to spear control, but he doesn't really use that here, besides instant transmission. But he also learned some techniques from King Kai, notably the Kaioken. Goku's been using it a lot, and even the other Z fighters up there have picked up on it too. Naturally, Piccolo would, especially with the lack of forms for himself. This way he can increase his power a ton without actually transforming. And there's a lot of things working in his favor here. For one, he could take advantage of being dead. 2, he has access to regeneration due to being a Namekian. And 3, after all this time in Otherworld, he's gotten way more proficient with regeneration as well. So Piccolo shows off his full power against Hit, a version of Kaioken that he made on his own, and something that he's had for a while. I did this in another What If with Goku, but we're giving it to Piccolo here. This is evolved Kaioken. There's no specific multiplier in it. Piccolo just keeps pushing himself higher and higher. He doesn't even know how far the multiplier goes. He's completely coated in a red aura, and even his eyes briefly turn red. Piccolo could tell that Hit's techniques are pretty tricky, so he's going to try and work around this quickly, especially because he can't use evolved Kaioken for that long, even with his advantages. With this, he briefly closes the power gap with Hit, but more importantly, he outspeeds him completely. Plus, Piccolo's able to predict all of Hit's moves. Using this, he's able to completely counter the time skip. There's no issues for this at all. And just barely, he's able to get by. It takes a huge toll on his body, but he recovers pretty quick. He's able to knock Hit out of the ring, getting the win for Universe 7. And of course, with this tournament going on, Zeno knew about it. He decides to stop by and says that it seemed pretty fun. Eventually, he'd love to do something like this for himself. So, keep that in mind. Champa's pretty pissed that Beerus won, but when he gets the wish, it's a pretty nice wish for his brother. Just like normal, he wishes for Earth and Universe 6 to be restored. It's a win-win for everyone. Beerus barely was able to win the tournament, even though Champa made a big stink about him having dead people as fighters. And Champa got Earth. Although, it's probably going to take some time before it makes good food for him. Gohan and Trunks wanted to fight, but consider how Goku feels. He was brought back here for a bit and didn't even get the chance to battle. Which is a big bummer, but at least they were able to win that tournament. He's glad to see how strong Piccolo grew at least, as well as that warrior Namekian they met. Goku actually had something new for himself that he wanted to show off, but it looks like it's going to have to wait for some time later. And he decides to not reveal it yet. It'll be better as a surprise later on. Following the tournament, they go to the world of Kai, because while they were brought back temporarily and couldn't go to the living world, this way they get around it because they could be in the world of Kai. This isn't part of that. Beerus is a bit annoyed that they're finding loopholes, but he kind of expected this. Besides, one of the dead fighters won him the tournament, so he'll let it slide. He didn't expect that kind of power from Piccolo though, and it makes him wonder, how much stronger has Goku grown? Especially because, according to Piccolo, Goku's even stronger than him. They wonder how that power compares to Gohan and Trunks. Beerus is about to suggest a battle between them, but instead, Goku teleports some other friends here. Krillin, Tenshinhan, Yamcha, Chaozu. Trunks barely knows any of these people, he's only heard about them, but Gohan definitely remembers them and he's glad to see everyone once more. Plus, Goku even introduces them to a new fighter. Someone that they've never heard of, but someone that Goku's known in Otherworld for a while, and one of Goku's rivals up there. He's actually pretty strong himself too, and gives Goku a good challenge even now. His name's Piccolo. He's a warrior who's been long dead. One who's pretty impressive and one who continuously trains with Goku. Seeing this, Beerus is a bit annoyed that all of Universe 7's strongest fighters are dead, besides 2 of them. Although, at least it seems like Gohan and Trunks are stronger than everyone still. Especially if they're able to grasp that new power that Gohan was tapping into, and is working towards right now, they'll be able to maintain that throne. Still, it's a bit annoying that there aren't many living warriors that are that strong. Because besides Gohan and Trunks, all they have is Cargo, who's strong but way far from their level. And then Yajirobe, who barely even fights at all. Their universe is screwed, especially if Zeno ends up doing that other tournament. It makes him wonder if there's anyone out there that's that powerful, at least in the living world. It doesn't seem like it because they would have definitely heard about it by now. Hopefully they'll never need to make a strong team like that again, because even with 5 people, they were pretty short on fighters. These otherworld warriors seem pretty powerful though. He didn't realize how strong dead people could get. It intrigues him, and at least he got to see Goku and Piccolo's power. But still, them finding loopholes, it's pretty annoying to him. Some more time passes, and Zeno eventually gets bored, especially because there's not another Zeno to keep him company. There's not many fun things for him to do, and he decides eventually he wants to do a new tournament like that one before, and without another Zeno to keep him company, he might get bored even sooner than normal. Although, without him eating Goku the same way as in canon, who knows how this affects his view of the tournament. But, at the very least, he decides to set one in motion soon enough. And there's no exhibition match needed because there's no other Zeno to show tournaments to. The format is decided. They'll get 10 fighters from each universe, and they'll all fight for the survival of the universes. The winner gets the Super Dragon Balls. And, of course, due to an even lower mortal level than normal, Universe 7 would definitely be one of the universes on the chopping block. Just as Beerus feared. So many of the strong people died, and there's so many calamities in Universe 7 that it led to this. Now they have a low mortal level, and Zeno wants to erase them. Even worse, they now have to make some sort of team with 10 warriors. They were barely able to get 5 last time. How did they get 10 here? Is their team just gonna all be dead people? He and Whis have been looking for other strong people in Universe 7, not just for their own knowledge, but maybe as a challenge for Gohan and Trunks. Gohan and Trunks are really strong, and they've grown even beyond their previous level. But still, is it really only these two mortals in Universe 7 with that type of power? That remains to be seen. They're going to have to search harder, and more importantly, get other warriors as well, because even if they find one strong person in Universe 7, they're still going to need a couple more. He really hopes they're able to make it through this tournament, or at the very least, he hopes that Gohan and Trunks are able to carry everyone through it. Maybe that Piccolo guy and Goku as well. With Beerus terrified at the prospect of the tournament, this is where we leave off for now. What do you guys think about this part? Or what's going to happen next time? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel and shows me you want to see more like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.